Hi, this is Kelly talking, and on this channel I discuss childhood trauma and my healing journey. Today I'm going to discuss my thoughts about Wayward episode 3. So I did get sent to a reform school, part of the troubled teen industry, which is kind of like the school portrayed in Wayward. Wayward was definitely, Tall Pines was definitely modeled after the troubled teen industry. So, one of the most obvious things that is just unrealistic in the third episode is that friends on the outside are able to communicate with each other. There isn't a troubled teen industry school, I think, in the world where people who knew each other before getting sent there would be allowed to talk to each other. They do not allow people to have real friendships or close friends in any way. So people get put on restricted communication and no talk to people, where essentially everyone will know that those two people are not allowed to communicate. That means no looking at each other, no talking to each other, no being near each other. So someone always has to be like sitting in the middle of you. You'll never be able to sit next to that person. You'll never be sitting at a table with that person for any meals or anything like that. And these kind of like things throughout the entire show that are just like, oh yeah, that would never be allowed, are, constant. Just like, they really don't show the amount of restriction on your ability to communicate. One thing that I do think they represented decently is the manipulation about how they always blame the children. Whenever someone who is on the outside sees a questionable symptom, like, oh, this child seems to be saying that this place is toxic, or they're running away, which is, evidence that something isn't well. Kids don't run away from safe places. And I mean, if you have a child who is running away, I'm sorry to say it, there's something wrong. I'm not sorry to say it. It's just, people always look at runaway children as if like, oh, they're a runaway. That's definitely a very common thing, blaming kids for wanting to get drugs. But children don't just start doing drugs because they had every need met, That's not how that works. So yeah, blaming the kids that they're just trying to get their next fix when they are running away from an abusive institution is on point. And then there is the hot seat we see in this episode, where someone is attacked by all of the other students. And I did not experience this. These things are real. This is a real activity that is done by various troubled teen industry facilities. But even if you don't have that exact tactic done to you, there are tactics, different manipulative, brainwashy tactics, culty tactics. Where I was, we were first forced to journal. We had journaling prompts, and the staff reviewed everything that we wrote. And then we also had workbooks. We were supposed to work through our anger. That gets air quotes because it actually had nothing to do with working through our anger and everything to do with getting blamed. When I was honest in my anger workbooks and my forgiveness workbook, and I don't remember the other one, but there were at least 3 workbooks that you started to do once you got to a certain level. Those were really used to manipulate, because when I told them honestly about my home life, I was told that I was lying and I wouldn't be able to move through the program if I kept saying those things. So I essentially had to change what I was writing to be the narrative that they wanted, where I was a bad kid for petty reasons, where I did bad things and I acted out. I had anger for like little inconsequential stuff, not the reality of which was my father was extremely violent and abusive, especially towards my mother and towards all of his children as well. But I wasn't allowed to say that that was what made me angry. So I definitely didn't talk to them about the sexual abuse that I experienced as well. I really didn't want to be gaslit about it, but it turns out that enough years, for me it was 2 years, of me having to say that I lied and I made up everything, really does brainwash you. It brainwashed me. It erased my memories until I believed what I was saying, that I was just a bad kid. That, and that's what they do. That's also what the hot seat is meant to do. It's meant to convince you that you are the problem and, get you to just be like a drone performing what they want you to perform. So it's really sad. It's very difficult for a lot of survivors to ever feel like they can open up to a therapist again, because they call these things therapy, right? And these staff who are, in charge of things like the hot seat or reviewing your workbooks, they are supposed to be your like therapists. But I think it's really important to get a good therapist. There are really bad therapists, like Jody Hildebrandt, right? She is in jail for child abuse, and she recommended parents send their children to the troubled teen industry. So there are therapists who send kids to the troubled teen industry. And if that was the way that someone ended up there, how are they going to really be able to trust a therapist again? If someone's partial experience of the troubled teen industry, it can also include like kind of hospital settings. I give it air quotes because I don't know really if they are true hospitals or if they are faking it as hospitals, but there are places that call themselves like hospitals for people with maybe mental health issues. So yeah, it's just very, very difficult for a lot of survivors to be able to trust someone else, because and these things really they accumulate. The not being able to have a real friend and having these therapy sessions be used against you in this way. Those types of things, and telling, you see how, other students have to tell on each other. These things, they compound the trauma and making it hard to trust and making it hard to be able to open up and use your voice and like have this channel that I have. I am the fact that I have this channel is evidence that I'm doing well. Honestly, I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't already had so much work in stabilizing myself and having, a good support system. And that doesn't mean that my support system's perfect and that I have everything figured out. I definitely don't. My therapist says we never have everything figured out. It's always layers. It's always more work. There's always, a new time in life that we have to get through, and it can reveal that we have more trauma that we didn't even understand, or the different layers of that trauma. Also, the nightmares by the woman who's pregnant outside of this school. She has these nightmares, reoccurring nightmares, and that's real. I think even if you weren't sent to the troubled teen industry, people tend to have like high school nightmares. Well, imagine if your nightmares or the troubled teen industry, if that's where you went to high school, yeah, it makes them really shitty. I, in a way, feel really fortunate that I do have nightmares, but I think that they're mild, definitely compared to ones that I had when I was younger. But I definitely do have them. And I think that that's something that, will probably never go away. Though I don't have them, every single night, but it just happens. So, that's pretty much everything from just the third episode that I felt like commenting on. If you have any thoughts about Wayward, you can put them in the comments, and I'll make some more commenting on the next episodes as well. All right, have a good one. I hope, all of my survivors find some rest and peace, and I wish you all well. Bye.